and welcome to Little Learners Child Development Center. My name is Dawn Cleveland. I am a preschool teacher, the director, and the owner of the center, located here in Hackensack. I've had the pleasure of teaching early childhood education for the last 25 years in the state of New Jersey, and have 2 degrees within the field of family science, human development, and early childhood education. Many people who don't spend their days in the classroom or have the educational background of early childhood education may not understand the importance of a child's development and education within the first few years of life, along with the significance of a child attending a proper educational center like Little Learners. Children enrolled in a high-quality early childhood center are sponges with endless opportunities to grasp new knowledge, to receive a head start with creating a strong foundation for the educational journey, which begins at birth. An educator can acknowledge developmental differences of a child enrolled as a preschooler versus a child who was enrolled at infancy. Children who are enrolled at infancy are shown to be better rounded in all areas of development and general knowledge. The best decision a parent can make is to enroll the child in an early childhood education program. However, it may not be the easiest decision for a parent to make due to the expenses. This matter has also always been a factor for families. However, following the pandemic, the issue has increased in the amount of families struggling. For families who cannot afford to enroll a child in a child care program, face challenges of balancing workable hours to bring home income to their household, while also needing to care for their child themselves and competing with educators who have the extensive background, knowledge, the resources, the environment to ensure children are receiving and reaching their developmental milestones. Little Learners Child Development Center acknowledges local families' struggles with wanting to be in a high-quality child education with manageable tuition rates. Families are not the only ones struggling following the pandemic. Even years later, centers like Little Learners Child Development Center have challenges with the rises of supplies, wages, property expenses, and fewer families that are enrolled at our center due to the high cost of living. We are down 28 children less than our capacity, and with the rise of monthly expenses went between 25 to 32% since the pandemic. Our center, regardless of these issues, still maintains the lowest tuition rates within our community while trying to do the best to give children high quality care for those young children that need us so desperately. I am also honored to have the opportunity by Congressman Gottheimer to be an advocate for the childcare industry and get to speak. As always, I thank you so much. As an advocate for young children, it is my hope, goal, and determination to continue to support our local community by providing the best care and education possible to young children, and I can only hope going further to see support being brought to the childcare industry and our New Jersey families. I thank you so much for letting me voice my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Excellent. That was terrific, by the way.
Thank you. I was so nervous.
You deserve applause. You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing. And we could pause for a second. NBC, you okay? Or you gotta go?
No, breaking news.
Oh, got it. No problem. I just want to make sure there wasn't a problem with your mic. Okay. I'm going to bring up Commissioner Marte now. He's going to lead us in the pledge. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you. Please join me to honor America. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Now, Shadea is going to come up, who's going to speak to us. Shadea Bennett's going to come up and speak to us for a few minutes, an unbelievable advocate for children in our state.
Congressman.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shadea Bennett. I'm the Senior Legislative Analyst at the Advocates for Children of New Jersey. ACNJ believes every child deserves access to high-quality early care and education in safe, enriching environments. A strong, stable child care system is essential, not just for children's development and future success, but also for families to access quality, affordable options so they can work, grow, and contribute to their communities. Unfortunately, New Jersey's child care system is in crisis. Limited accessibility, staffing shortages, and affordability challenges make childcare increasingly out of reach for many families, while childcare providers struggle to sustain operations to deliver this essential service. To address these ongoing challenges, we must recognize that affordability and access for families are tied to the financial health and stability of providers. The average cost of center-based toddler care is about $19,500 per year, unaffordable for many families, and for most providers, this price tag does not cover the true cost of providing care. Additionally, childcare is in short supply, with enough space to serve only about a third of the children who need care. The primary reason programs report serving fewer children is due to staffing shortages. Providers need support to offer fair compensation that reflects the unique skills and value childcare providers provide to our children without shifting the cost burden to families. We need targeted investments to stabilize the system, affordable access for families so parents can remain in the workforce, financial stability for providers so they can continue to educate and care for our youngest residents, fair compensation for child care professionals to attract and retain the workforce needed to meet demand. Thus, we commend proposals like the Little Act, sponsored by Congressman Gottheimer, which would expand the Child Independent Care Tax Credit, making child care more affordable for more families, and create a new tax credit to support the startup of child care centers. This type of measure acknowledges both the financial challenges families face in affording child care and the need to support providers. Providing families with financial support to pay for child care and incentivizing entrepreneurs to enter the child care sector helps increase access to this essential service. We appreciate the focus and the work that is being done in this space, and we continue to urge intentional investment in the child care infrastructure, which is a necessary measure to sustain and strengthen a system that works for everyone and our state's future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was excellent. Thank you so much. Now I'm very excited to introduce our great senator, who does an unbelievable job on these issues and so many more across Bergen County, Senator Gordon Johnson.
Thank you. And that's with your help, by the way, Congressman. But, good morning, everyone. I'm grateful to be standing here today to discuss the pressing issue impacting the day-to-day lives of our families here in the 37th Legislative District, the County of Bergen, and around this country. I want to thank Congressman Gottheimer for fighting to address the affordability crisis facing Americans by offering a holistic solution to addressing the rising child care costs. Facilities like Little Learners are the backbone of our economy. They do the critical work of shaping young minds, providing parents peace of mind that their children are being cared for in a secure, safe, regulated environment as they go to work every day. Unfortunately, rising costs have made it harder for parents to afford care, and in many areas, the child care shortages are critical. The Little Act would help to address this by more than doubling the Child and Dependent Care Tax Credit, which is currently at the same level it was 20 years ago, despite child care costs rising by more than 20%. It also helped to bolster the industry by offering new child care centers a tax credit for up to $10,000 to offset startup costs. Access to high-quality child care is critical to early childhood development. Is also critical for our economy. We all lose out when parents can't go to work because they have to care for a child at home, or they can't afford to send their kids to an affordable, secure place where the kids can learn in a secure environment, and they can feel peace of mind because their children are being cared for, and also they can go to work to help feed their families. So, Congressman Gottheimer, thank you for what you've done. You're always in my corner, man, because the 37th District, we appreciate you. The County of Bergen appreciates you. And the people of New Jersey appreciate you, Congressman. So thank you.
Thanks.
And I'll turn this over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you all for spending a few minutes with us today. I'm very grateful. It's great to be back at Little Learners. I've been here to get ideas. I've been here to visit before. It is a phenomenal center, and you heard for one of the reasons we're really here to talk about today is the right affordability As you heard over and over again, you obviously heard Dawn talk about, who just does an amazing job with her family here. This is a great family business, and they're facing what a lot of places are facing, childcare centers, right? It's expensive. They are one of the most affordable places around, and still people can't afford right now to bring their kids here, right? Because they have 25 plus open slots right now. 28, which is unusual. I remember being here, and there weren't enough. Enough slots. So you're dealing with people dealing with higher costs, and childcare is at the top of the list. We have the second most expensive childcare in the country here in New Jersey. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you're seeing here the effect of what happens, right? So it's great to be in Hackensack, and Shadea did an amazing job. Our Commissioner Marte does an incredible job getting so involved in our communities, and as you heard, so does our Senator. We were here in October, and we had a roundtable before that, talking about these issues, and you're seeing the impact, and you'll see it in the legislation that I've proposed. So we're here today as part of my affordability agenda for Jersey to help families afford the crushing cost of childcare. New Jersey, as I said, is the second highest cost in the country. So if you're lucky enough, given, by the way, in a lot of places in the state, there's just not enough slots for our kids, not enough room for our kids to be in, to find a loving, quality childcare place like this. If you're lucky enough, the question is, can you afford it, right? Add to that what President Trump has proposed with plans to kill the Department of Education and support for early childhood education, and you can see what I'm worried about for our children and their futures, right? This idea that's been proposed that you would kill the Department of Education is just crazy, that we would actually not invest in the futures of our children, especially in early childhood education going through. But first, let me talk about the crushing cost of childcare. We know that childcare centers provide essential, critical care to moms and dads for their children who need a safe place to leave as they go to work. That's why so many of these centers continue to be the bedrock of our communities like this one here in Hackensack. Childcare is one of the biggest expenses, costing up to 50% of a family's monthly budget. 50%. That's half of the paycheck on childcare alone before factoring costs like commuting, taxes, and other expenses like rent and food and diapers, right? And we know with egg prices and meat prices going up, it's even leaving less money aside for childcare. From our nurses and teachers to firefighters, everyone is struggling to make ends meet. Childcare in New Jersey is the second most expensive, as I said, in the country. In Bergen, it costs families more than $17,460 a year on average. That's $442 each week drained out of pocketbooks to keep our children safe and cared for. For families with infants, it's more expensive. That cost can be as high as $19,500 a year. By the way, that's after-tax income, right? So you think about how much money that is for a family. Far too often, the high cost of childcare means parents have to choose between going to work or sending their kids to childcare, because for many, paying for childcare actually costs more than they make on the job, right? So they have to choose. Do you go to work, or do you childcare, or do you pay for childcare? Or in many cases, I'm sure you've heard about that, one of the parents, their salary fully goes to paying for the childcare. That's what all their salary goes to, right? And the other parent, of course, then has to make up the rest. It's easy to see how the cost of childcare can be a pocketbook killer and keep moms and dads from going to work, right? And again, we're in a place that has one of the most affordable childcare around. Jersey parents are expected to lose more than $378 million in expected earnings because they're forced to cut work hours or leave the workforce altogether because they can't make ends meet and can't make this all work out with childcare costs. And then we know during the pandemic, we actually lost a lot of childcare centers in that process. From 2020 to 2021, during the pandemic, we lost more than 250 childcare centers across the state. So this created a simple supply and demand challenge in a lot of our communities. The number of children parents are having didn't drop, but the availability of good quality care has. Instead, they continue to skyrocket today. They have not come back down, these costs. Since 2019, the average cost of childcare overall is up 32%. Like we're dealing with higher costs overall, it's affected, of course, childcare. Affects wages here and affects just the cost of running a childcare center. And again, we're in a place that's one of the more affordable childcare centers that provides amazing quality care. With a tight labor market, it's become harder and harder to find well-trained workers, right? This is an issue that Ms. Bennett talked about, right? That is of finding good quality people, raising both the expenses when you're trying to find those good quality people, of finding those people affects the expenses of a childcare center like this one. Given how important childcare is for our families and our economy and our community, and most importantly, for our children and their futures, we must take steps to solve this problem. It is solvable. We can help, right? That's why I'm here. That's why we're talking about announcing today as part of our affordability agenda steps to make childcare more affordable for Northern New Jersey and for the country. So today, as part of my affordability agenda for Jersey, I'm announcing new actions to make quality childcare more affordable, more available, and help put dollars back into the pockets of hardworking families here in Jersey. First, we must immediately expand the child tax credit. From quality childcare to helping pay for diapers, clothing, and baby food, the child tax credit has helped millions of parents go to work and afford the overwhelming costs of raising a kid in Jersey. I'll be sponsoring new legislation, the American Family Act, with my colleagues to expand the child tax credit to $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year back in your pocket, up from $2,000 a year for children ages 6 to 17. If you have a child below the age of 6, that amount will increase to $360 a month or $4,320 a year. So we're trying to literally expand the child tax credit. This legislation will also make these payments available every month instead of waiting till the end of the year, because the bills come due every month. You can't wait till the end of the year to pay your child care bills here. They couldn't afford that to make ends work. Or you can't wait to pay your diapers, pay for those diapers, right, or the clothing. You got to pay for it as you go. So by getting it making a monthly support, that helps families as they go. Also, our legislation includes a baby bonus, which gives an additional $2,000 to new families who just had a child regardless. $2,000 to new families who just had a child regardless of when their child was born. Through the American Rescue Plan, we actually fought to expand the child tax credit during the pandemic, and we did. And it made a huge difference for our families. We saw just how much this helped make life more affordable, lifting more than 4 million children out of poverty at the time, right? And helping child care providers keep their doors open. Then the far-right extremists rolled it back. They refused to keep the child tax credit expanded, and that raised costs for Jersey families. It doubled the child poverty rate in our country. When they rolled that back, more kids went into poverty. That's what happens. We must put the expanded child tax credit back in place. It's time. And this legislation will do that, especially with all the costs families are facing. So second, I'm reintroducing, as you heard, the Lowering Infant and Toddler Tuition for Learning and Education Act, or what we call the Little Act, right? I love the name of this one in particular. The Little Act will create the first tax credit for startup child care centers to help lower the barrier of entry for entrepreneurs who want to open up a place just like this one. As I said, we have a shortage in many parts of our state of child care centers. I hear it all the time from families. We need more child care centers. This will help lower the prices and ensure hardworking Jersey families have more access to affordable child care for their children. The legislation was inspired by a conversation we had here, right, in this center around a round table to help children and help their families afford child care by making sure we got more centers. And on top of that, on top of the child tax credit, as part of the Little Act, we, as was mentioned, we would double the child independent care tax credit to $7,500 for one child and $15,000 for two or more. That tax credit is just for paying for child care. It has not gone up in 20 years, as was pointed out. This will actually lift it up to deal with higher costs of child care. Again, only for child care, and will cover a significant portion of child care here in New Jersey, right? And it's fully a refundable tax credit, so you know you get it back no matter what. Third, ahead of the government funding deadline next month, I'm sending a letter to congressional leadership and the leadership of the House Appropriations Committee, stressing the importance of child care funding and urging them to commit to not cutting a single dime for child care, right? And child-related expenses, because right now many are talking about, and the far right, gutting support for child care and child care-related expenses as part of their plans. That is totally unacceptable. We have to invest in our kids. We have to make sure parents can afford child care. Why would you roll that back, as some in the far right are proposing? Literally rolling back critical investments. We need to gear up for that fight. I'm ready to make sure we fight for every dollar for our parents, to make sure they can afford child care. Right? As I've done for years, from fighting for more investment in Head Start, to restoring the full SALT deduction, to working to kill the congestion tax, I will continue to work around the clock to make life more affordable for Jersey families, get those taxes down, get those costs down. Finally, I will be joining together with countless others across our state and country
and making it very clear to President Trump that he cannot go after our children, he can't go after their education and futures and shut down the Department of Education. It's insane. Why would we shut down the Department of Education that invests in our children's future, especially early childhood education, not just grade school education? It makes no sense, and we will fight them. And I'm telling you right now that the department has had an enormous impact on millions of children and families across our great country, especially in Jersey, including programs that help centers just like this one. We know that what our children learn, especially during those first 5 formative years, means so much to their long-term success, to their long-term ability to learn, to their long-term ability to achieve, right? And of course, to our state and country's economy. So we will fight against the president if he tries to shut down the Department of Education. We'll make it very clear that you can't, in a dictatorial fashion, just decide to shut down the Department of Education or to gut it. It puts our children's future at risk. The president spent months talking about taking action to lower costs for families. We should be focusing on that. And I'd like to know, instead of this, going on this retribution tour and going after folks, what are we doing to get costs down? Cost of childcare, cost of food, cost of diapers, right? The cost of energy. All these things, we've got to get costs down, make life more affordable for folks. That's what we should be focusing on, instead of just running around as he's doing, President Trump, and trying to kill the Department of Education or going after people. It's just not the way we make sure that our children succeed. So that is a coming attraction to a fight if he tries to go there. Because I'll tell you now, if we invest in our children, when they are young, from child care centers to preschool, to kindergarten and so on, it will pay long-term dividends. We cannot let extremists deny what our families need. There should be nothing partisan about investing in our children, in their child care, in their futures, in their education. I know here in the greatest country in the world, when we work together on things like education, on child care, right, and come together, our best days are all ahead of us. Right? We know that. It's a great country. But you got to work together. You can't kill things that are going to hurt our children. That makes no sense to me. So I'm optimistic that we can figure out ways to work together and get all this done in the greatest country in the world. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless.